apartment, opens the door, doesn't see the guy in the chair, turns around, switches the light on, and the guy in the chair suddenly speaks. Says something inane like, "Well, it's about time you got home." The guy at the door is always so cool. It's a dark apartment, just turns around and says something like, "Well, what are you doing here?" Now, come on. You and I know that's not how he'd really react.
Well, you finally came home.
I'd have gone through a lot of ceilings if I were a private detective. Of course, I don't think those private detectives, their lives are nearly as glamorous and exciting as they're portrayed in those films. You know, it's just, they're probably more tedious than exciting. Still, I love to watch those movies. Those guys, they excite my imagination, you know, because they're always the loners, the outsiders, the mavericks that work against the grain of the system. The guys that never seek out adventure. It comes to them, you know? Usually when they're pacing off the dull moments in their office. And like all dull moments, they crept by without a sound, like a turtle wearing tennis shoes. My business could be described in 2 words: boredom, followed by long periods of monotony. For what seemed like the 100th time, I walked to the window of my office. It was the same seedy street full of the same seedy people in a town that looked like it needed a shave. Dream Factory, where they say that for every light, there's a broken heart. But I know different. For every light, there's a murder. I decided to call it a day when I saw her out of the corner of my eye. She had the kind of pins that made your heart do a tap dance and your eyes work up a sweat. She was rich, she was beautiful, and in my office, she was as out of place as caviar in a soup kitchen. Something about this bimbo demanded etiquette. Unfortunately, something about me forgot that the bottom drawer was open. She didn't bat an eye, but then again, the class ones never do. She looked as though she could use a drink. This was the type of dame who would be more at home with a silver shaker of martinis at a country club dance. All I had to give her was cheap whiskey and a glass from a gas station giveaway. I needn't have worried. To my hooch like a kid takes to Santa Claus. And just about 3 times as fast. After a couple of belts, her backbone went out to lunch and she unwound faster than the mainspring in a dime store watch. Whoever said beautiful women never snore hadn't met this one. Compared to her, a rhino in heat was a nightingale. I took this chance to find out who she was. Janice Peyton. Sure. Wife of Seth Peyton, the international industrialist. I heard a noise outside the door, and I wasn't taking any chances. When the wife of a millionaire is drunk as a skunk in your office, you better have a 38 or a good explanation. Fortunately, I had a good 38. Hold her right there, Mac.
You Dr. Stearns, the optician?
He's 2 doors down the hall.
Oh, thanks.
That's the kind of stuff that happens when your office is on the same floor as an all-night eye doctor.
What happened?
I said 2 doors.
Where am I?
I'll tell you where you are, Mrs. Peyton. You're in my office.
Oh, yes. Eugene Harlow. Private Dick.
Private Eye.
I think my husband's been murdered.
Murder's a big word, Mrs. Peyton.
Not really. Only 6 letters. Manslaughter. Now, that is a big word.
What makes you think he's been murdered?
He disappeared 4 days ago. This morning, I found these. Matches from the rendezvous room. What shall we do?
You go home and wait by the phone. Me? I'm going to the rendezvous room. It was in a rundown part of town. It was the kind of joint you'd be glad to be thrown out of. Piano player's name was Roger Galsworthy, and he was like every piano player you've seen in the movies. Pencil-thin mustache, a smile to fade your suit, and he never looked like he was playing.
So, you're a private dick, eh?
Aye.
You're all dicks to me.
Tell me about Seth Payton.
You mean the millionaire industrialist with a mansion in Beverly Drive, a yacht in Acapulco, married to Janice, a very beautiful redhead with a great pair of gams?
Yeah.
Nothing. All I know is, when he requests a song, I play it. Once I didn't.
What happened?
Good luck, Mr. Private Dick.
Aye. Luck was what I was gonna need, and faster than I thought. Well, hello, fellas. What's up?
You the private dick?
Aye.
The boss said to give you this.
Whoever they were, they left their calling card all over my face. They also left these. A book of matches. Lucas, Twisted Arms Apartments, 12 14th Street. By the time I got to Lucas's place, my head felt like the dance floor of a flamenco nightclub. The rolls in this joint were thinner than the meat on a lunch counter sandwich. Naturally, this Lucas character lived 7 flights up. They always do. I knocked. He didn't take long to answer. I told him who I was. That was my first mistake.
A private dick?
Aye.
Want to know what I think of private dicks?
Eyes. Fortunately, the ground broke my fall. My lucky stars. It wasn't hard. They were all there in front of my eyes. Luckily, I found some matches. They were from a bar across the street. I figured they'd have some answers. I figured wrong. At least I'm consistent.
Private dick, huh?
Aye.
You want to know what we think of private dicks?
Aye. People can get very touchy when you correct their speech. Luckily, I found some matches. They were from the Rock Bottom Hotel. I knew the place. It was a kind of joint where for $2 a night you could get a room, a bed, and a lot of small little friends on your clothes. I figured I'd meet the murderer there, but I figured wrong. I met Janice Payton. What are you doing here?
I found this book of matches.
Room 207. All right, better stand back. Don't move a muscle, Mac. Okay, Mrs. Payton, close the door. And you. Okay, punk. Tell me everything you know.
Well, let's see. The Magna Carta was signed in 1215, or... I know that E equals MC squared. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's about it.
Now tell me what you know about Payton.
Oh, a private dick, eh?
Aye.
Payton, off. Mrs. Payton here figured you for a real patsy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Roger Galsworthy was in it up to his neck.
I figured that.
He was on Lucas's payroll.
What's Lucas's racket?
Blackmail, in cahoots with a bartender across the street.
Is that a front for something?
It's a front for the back.
What goes on in the back?
That's where Payson comes in.
Payson? Who's Payson?
Payson is Payton, Seth Payton. And little Janice here was in it right up to her eyeballs. And look out, she's got a gun.
Oh, no. I figured wrong again. It's not true, is it?
It's all true, Dick.
So you think you're a smart dick, eh, Dick? So you know what happens to smart dicks, Dick? They end up dead dicks.
Not this time, Janice.
Don't anybody move. I figured wrong again. They weren't going to move anymore. I didn't know what to do with them. I was about to leave when, luckily, I found these matches. Fantasy funerals. Special rates for private dicks.
Now, this is sensible. This is business.
This is boring. I gotta wear a tie. That shows decisiveness. Or does it? Maybe that's why businessmen wear ties, so they don't have to make a decision. You say, oh, wear them. Gotta explain the use of the tie. There's no other reason for it. You know, you can figure out the reason for every piece of clothing. The pants obviously came about because of the legs, to keep the legs warm and to protect them. And the feet, of course, they had shoes on the feet to protect you, keep from stubbing your toe and protect the feet. And the shirt was for warmth, and the coat, of course, is for added warmth. But the tie serves no purpose. Just hangs from the neck for decoration. I always thought if they're going to have one, make it practical, you know? Put a little pocket in it or something. And carry change around, loose change. Or put Kleenex back there, so in case of emergency, you got somebody. Or better yet, make it real long, see? Real long tie. Because then you can take the tie, pull it up, and tuck it up in the back, see? And not only would it look good, but it would provide support. So I realized it would cut down on lots of stretching. Whoa! It would perk you up just as well. At least I looked the part, though. Now I look decisive. Look like a man who can make an independent decision. A man who says what he thinks. That's what they respect in business.
Ah, Mr. Monteith.
Hello?
I am BR.
Hello?
This is RB, CR, and RC.
RC, CR, and RB.
This is RB. I'm CR.
I'm RC. That's BR.
You are?
BR. Our initial problem here,
Is one of initials.
as I was saying, our initial problem here at Individual Clothing Conglomerate is how best to promote our new range of execusuit aimed at the young executive. Now, all of us here have been in men's clothing since we left school.
Well, that's certainly reassuring.
And it's all our opinion that you have the ideal image to promote this new line.
Well, what am I going to have to do?
You will be wearing this, the execusuit. Reinforced knees for groveling, extra padding on the shoulders for backstabbing, and an extra pair of trousers for when the expense sheet hits the fan.
Well, why have you chosen me?
Shall we sit? We speak with one mind on this.
You do?
Yes.
His.
You know, I never really thought of myself as the thrusting young executive type. I mean, my thrust is okay. My execution sometimes falls short.
Well, don't worry about that. All we want you to do is to wear the execusuit every time you appear on television, on stage, or go out to dinner.
Yeah, but when I go out, I usually like to wear something casual, like a nice pair of jeans.
And we will pay you £100,000.
And it's time I got out of those crummy clothes and right into executive.
Then that's settled. I think we've made the right decision.
Definitely.
Undoubtedly.
Absolutely.
Great.
Ready to sign?
Yes, I am. And you know, you've given me a great idea for an execusuit sketch.
Sketch? You mean a drawing?
No, you know, a bit, a hunk, a funny piece.
I don't understand.
Well, let me give you the premise, see? This new young executive, right, comes to work, first day in a job, wants to make a good impression, comes to work wearing his brand new execusuit.
Well, I don't think that's very funny.
I haven't finished yet.
Comes into the executive dining room, an executive waitress, also on her first day in the job, also wants to make a good impression, comes in, trips over his executive shoes, spills a hot tureen of executive soup in his lap, soaking right through to his executive shorts and scalding his potential. Well, I know it doesn't sound funny, but see, it's what it is. It's the pricking of the bubble of corporate dignity. Don't you see? It's taking all this corporate bullshit and just turning it up on its ass.
It does what?
It's taking all this corporate...
Oh, yes. We do understand American here.
Oh, you sound hysterical.
Just laugh a minute.
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not absolutely sure.
No, well, let's not be hasty.
Caution is the best counsel. I mean, do we really want someone laughing at his executive suit?
Good question.
Does this mean the deal's off?
Possibly.
Probably.
Maybe.
Could be.
What kind of answer is that?
Evasive.
Non-committal.
Vague.
But above all, corporate.